Welcome to the Tuesday, August 25th CCC Confluence Watchlist. Monday produced extraordinary after-hours momentum, but Tuesday belongs to confirmation. The capture recorded 2,294 CCC alert events across 181 unique tickers, with concentrated momentum radar leadership and abnormal volume radar activity. That tells us where attention gathered. It does not excuse chasing. Today, the board separates primary confirmation from volume-led watches, extended reset-only names, liquidity risk, and scheduled event risk. The alert mix was broad: 595 runner events, 110 short squeeze signals, 41 borrow spike alerts, 476 pre-market expansion events, 495 after-hours expansion events, 517 bid pressure readings, and 60 news catalyst alerts. DAIC led momentum radar with 110 appearances, followed by JEM at 59, AMIX at 50, WLDS at 43, and BTCT at 40. RITR dominated volume radar with 38 appearances. The operating rule is simple. Monday's activity earns attention. Tuesday's price, volume, spread, support, and tape must earn the trade. LSTA is the cleanest late confirmation framework in the capture. Monday's reference price was $1.77, with 78% readiness, tape confirming, and 5 of 6 setup conditions confirmed. The decision level is 186. 170 is the captured invalidation, with $2.209 on the mapped upside path. Those are Monday night reference levels, not guaranteed Tuesday entries. If price opens beyond the structure, wait for a fresh base and new confirmation. PMI had the highest final alert dashboard count at 133. It also carried A+ after hours and A+ after hours expansion readings, a 100 expansion score, 25.1 million shares on the final receipt, and 22.1 times relative volume. The momentum scanner graded it A with a 100 opportunity score and clean ignition, while the captured daily launch snapshot showed 100% run probability. Overnight expansion added 19.1% on 4 million shares. The captured structure used 617 over 589, then 669 and 721. But the late stock page said no trade, conflict. This is a strong confirmation candidate, never a chase. BTCT is one of the strongest true momentum radar and volume radar crossovers. 40 final momentum radar appearances, 5 final volume radar appearances, and roughly 11 times relative volume in the late tape. It produced 91 alerts, an A+ after-hours reading, an A+ expansion score of 100, and 185.3 million shares on the final A+ receipt. Overnight expansion added 16.6% on 6.44 million shares. The captured plan was 215 over 197, then 238 and 275. The late state was conflict and pullback, so require a reset, fresh base, and reignition. HVII finished fourth on the after-hours board, up 39.3%, and appeared 30 times on momentum radar. Its late runner grade with a score of 72, while after-hours expansion graded A+ at 97. The captured overnight reading was plus 18.9% on 333,400 shares and 17.45 times relative volume. The Monday framework used $10 over 979, then 1042 and 1102. The stock page later reverted to no trade, conflict with tape pulling back. Treat $10 as a reference decision line only after Tuesday stabilization. Lucy offers a potentially less extended confirmation alternative if Monday's monster runners remain too stretched. It ranked first in top confluence at 95.04, graded A+ across 6 sources, produced 95 final alerts, and gained 35.4% from its first alert. Its best tier was A+ bid pressure. The captured decision structure was 115 over 106, with 130 and 139 on the upside path. Lucy still needs fresh Tuesday volume, a usable spread, and an actual reclaim before it earns promotion. RITR dominated the final volume radar with 38 appearances in a 101-row capture. The running hit count reached approximately 790, and the late tape included a momentum-confirmed transition. Relative volume repeatedly printed between roughly 13 and 18 times before cooling, while the final 5-minute top gainers board showed approximately 348.93 million shares. That participation is undeniable, but readiness was only 28% and the tape was pulling back. The captured 10.1 cent trigger and 9.8 cent invalidation are historical context only. Tuesday needs new levels, a usable spread, continued abnormal volume, a fresh base, and actual price confirmation. Behind RITR, the secondary volume radar board shows USDE with 11 appearances, LGHL with 8, VBIO with 7, and SUGP with 4. They are early volume watches, not equal priority setups. Tuesday pre-market can change the hierarchy, so promote only the names that keep abnormal participation while building clean structure. Now the most important distinction in the video. Extended momentum is not hidden, but it is not presented as an automatic entry. DAIC, AMIX, JEM, WLDS, and MCRP were major Monday stories. Every one of them sits on the reset or reclaim board. Their overnight data receives the reporting boost it deserves, while the risk framework remains intact. No chase exemption. DAIC was Monday's dominant momentum name. Boosted overnight expansion reached 142.3% on 23.86 million shares and 40.41 times overnight relative volume. The final after-hours board showed plus 135% on 101.15 million shares, and DAIC led Momentum Radar with 110 appearances. Yet its stock page later said no trade, conflict, and tape pulling back. The stored 367 trigger was already overtaken when the final radar printed near 404. That is exactly why Tuesday requires an entirely fresh reset and structure. AMIX showed extraordinary participation, plus 105.5% overnight on 14.97 million shares and 1,192.23 times overnight relative volume. The final after-hours board showed plus 120.7% on 15.46 million shares, and the ticker appeared 50 times on Momentum Radar, but its late condition remained no trade, conflict with tape pulling back. Huge participation and huge extension do not create a chase exemption, require a substantial reset and the completely fresh Tuesday framework. JEM gained 68.6% overnight on 2.29 million shares and 185.36 times overnight relative volume. It finished after hours up 55.8% on 3.2 million shares and appeared 59 times on Momentum Radar. Its late A-plus bid pressure receipt scored 84 at 71.6 times relative volume. The captured 7.816 trigger over 512 with 9.569 and 1145 belonged to Monday's structure. The late condition was no trade, conflict. Tuesday requires a reset and fresh reclaim. WLDS added 26.9% overnight on 7.62 million shares and 612.81 times overnight relative volume. The final after-hours board showed plus 31.3% on 7.81 million shares, and it appeared 43 times on Momentum Radar. The late runner receipt graded A with a score of 86, but the old 288 trigger was already below the final after-hours price near 293. Refresh the structure Tuesday and require a clean reset or reclaim. MCRP gained 16.2% overnight on 5.67 million shares and 125.06 times overnight relative volume. The final after-hours board showed plus 15.5% on 5.98 million shares. Its late runner grade was A at 73, and after-hours expansion graded A+ at 85. The stored 138 trigger over 135 had weakened by the final snapshot near 134. Treat MCRP as a fresh reclaim watch, not a carryover entry. The liquidity and secondary risk board begins with CIIT, where unstable spreads can override strong acceleration. AIXI and 10X remain secondary reclaim watches because both reverted to pullback conditions. These names can stay relevant, but only after Tuesday supplies a usable book, fresh levels, and renewed confirmation. Tuesday's calendar contains 27 captured earnings events, 13 before the market and 14 after the market. The largest displayed expected moves are SLQT at 43.6%, CTRN at 29.6%, SHMD at 21.1%, SMTC at 19.2%, EH at 14%, ELMD and NCNO at 13.7%, and QFIN at 13.5%. Expected move describes magnitude, not bullish or bearish direction. These are event risk references, not directional calls. Corporate action risk includes REAX's 1 for 10 reverse split and GPUS's 1 for 5 reverse split, both effective August 25th. REAX also appeared on Monday's after-hours board, so use a fresh split-adjusted chart. On the macro calendar, the S&P Cotality Case-Shiller Home Price Index is scheduled for 9 a.m. Eastern. At 10, the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Release carried a captured forecast of 90.1 versus 90.8 prior, and new home sales carried a forecast of 619,000 versus 628,000 prior. Watch for changing market character around those releases without assuming any report will move a particular ticker. The Tuesday hierarchy is clear. Primary confirmation, LSTA, PMI, BTCT, HVII, and LUCI. The volume continuation wildcard is RITR with LGHL, USDE, SUGP, and VBIO behind it. Reset-only leaders are DAIC, AMIX, JEM, WLDS, and MCRP. CIIT requires spread confirmation. AIXI and TENX require fresh reclaim structures. Monday gave traders extraordinary momentum. Tuesday requires the market to prove continuation. No chasing. Fresh structure, fresh volume, fresh confirmation. This watch list is educational market research, not individualized financial advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Alerts and scanner detections are informational inputs. Historical activity does not guarantee future performance. Confirm current market conditions, liquidity, spreads, news, filings, and risk before acting, and manage your own risk.